We've made it!
Our sail trial was the most beautiful experience. I'm still trying to find the words to tell you how it felt to finally have Yabá with open sails and no engine.
Our idea from the beginning was to put on whatever rigging Yabá had, just head out, try whatever we have, and then come back and reevaluate. And after the reevaluation, we realized what can we change to make the boat safer? What can we change to make the boat faster? What can we change to make the sailing easier? And this is where you guys come in, because in the last episode of the sailing and also the episode, especially the episode where I started working on some of the running rigging of the main sheets and the other sheets, you guys gave a lot of good suggestions. And look at this wind. It's absolutely perfect to head out sailing, but we've got to get these things done. And after seeing this wind, I'm listening to your advice. We're gonna work a little bit on the main sheet pulleys, and that's gonna be epic. I hope you guys can hear me. I haven't tested this microphone in this wind yet, and the fact that there is this wind means the future of sailing in Brazil is looking promising. And speaking about looking promising, we want to have a good, strong system. Now, we did try to put new pulleys on. They were made for sailboats with masts up to the size we have. But I came across these. They were in the shop right next to the shipyard. It's something we should have just done from the start. No messing around, and it looks absolutely epic. I thought I was going to be ready today completely. I thought, what could go wrong? Nothing went wrong, but I would like the shackles that twist 90 degrees just so I can receive the line straight and that the shackle doesn't point sideways. Pull this through. We're going to have a super strong system here. I would like a traveller going across at some point, but that's going to be in future. Yeah. And this looks sexy. Let's hoist the boom so we can have a look at it. For now, very, very cool. Even though these were 6mm shackles, I trusted these. But then again, you are always still depending on a very small piece. Same with here, we were depending on a very small piece of stainless. And in this case, it's an absolute beast of a system. I think we got very close with the perfect location, or the ideal location of the anchor points of these sheets. However, I'd like to do some more sailing in some heavier winds before mounting a more permanent solution. Now, the boat came with these massive pulleys. I think this is, what is it, 5-6mm thick stainless half-inch threaded bar through the middle. So this is what the boat came with. The reason I put these soft shackles is I didn't want to, for example, drill these 4 half-inch holes into the boat and say that should have been further back. Ideally, also, if you guys suggested it, is a rail system over here so we can change the anchor points while sailing. Another change that is long overdue is this freezer. It has to go somewhere else. The freezer is coming exactly here, right next to the fridge, which makes a lot of sense. I'm not exactly sure yet how we're going to fix this in place. I know we're going to have to measure where the lid has to come just under this plywood over here. And then we're also going to have to put some cross beams across to make sure it doesn't fall down. And then something so it doesn't shift sideways. Baby, why you leaving me? Nice. Baby, what you done with me for? Is it because we've got these pre-cut pieces that I just got from IKEA. It doesn't come with a manual though, so I'm gonna have to figure out where they're gonna go.
Can you clarify that we don't even have IKEA in this?
Yeah, we don't have IKEA here. I've got a chair now. Going in now. In the future we are going to have blowers absolutely everywhere, vents to prevent any humidity from building up. Mainly under the bilge, suck it all fresh air inwards, suck all humid air out. Okay, let's put the freezer in. Once the freezer's in place, we'll remove it so I can just glue everything. Glue's never gonna hurt. And there's a little gnome in this engine room that always takes care of electrics. So I'm just gonna pass the wires through this hole over here and it should connect by itself. It's like magical. Whatever you stick through here, whatever you leave loose, it just turns out to connect to something. Oh, you okay?
Yeah!
Normal people empty these. Everything is good so far, including MP's fingers. Now we're just going to grab the lid, place this on top and see if we like the positioning. That has to go down. Stand on it.
The same way we have a gnome in the engine room that will do all the electrical connections, we also have a gnome here that will add this little cute thing so we can open this lid and access the freezer.
How cool. You know what they say, measure once, fit once, with a lot of luck. So we are going to remove this though, and I'm going to glue everything and I'm going to pass you the wire. Zzz. -26, flip it round, -26.
Okay.
So you can plug it in now. I'll be up here in case it explodes. Hey! It worked! We have a freezer. Well, we have a freezer and more importantly, we have a helm. Like, look at the amount of space that's here. Before, either the freezer was here while navigating or here while not navigating. Of course, we've just removed everything to have access to the wires, but look at the amount of space we have here. And it actually shows how messy this actually is, so let's also tidy that up. While we're here, I would like to say a few changes are going to be made to the tops of the kitchen counter, but that will be soon. But I just want to say about this is a fridge freezer, which goes from, if I'm not mistaken, like -20 to whatever you want. So we can have it as a freezer, and if we want an extra fridge, we can set it to different temperatures. We can actually find out. Let's see what it can go down to. Celsius, right? 20. -20. So we're going to leave this open for now until we actually have the latch installed. But how cool is this? Sweet, now that that's installed, that's out of the way, I came across this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you where it's going to go. This is going to be a very pleasant area one day. Like, nicely lighted, nice lighting, nice ventilation, organized and so on. But for now it's just kind of so we can get all our work stuff and materials hidden and not in the living space. But it does mean it gets quite stuffy in there. So over here we've got this 4-inch day-night solar vent. Per hour it moves 800 cubic feet or 244 square meters of air. So if you leave that on for an entire day, that would be 19,200 cubic feet of 5,852 cubic meters. So that is a lot of air that is going to be sucked out of the bow locker and into the wild. There we go. Okay, now sealant. There's a few rubber gasket thingies and thread on the other side and a few screws to hold this in place. I'm so happy with how this looks. Of course, it's a bit chunky, but chunky goes with kind of like effectiveness. Any of the small ones were way weaker, so I wanted to have something like this. Now, the plastic of the vent is not glued to the little gasket that is under it, and the gasket is glued to the wood. Now, the reason I've done that is I want to see if this is sealed enough. If not, I just remove it and I put some more Sikaflex in it. Also, it came with a gasket to put over here, and I didn't put that either because if water comes in, I want it to leak. I don't want it to get caught in the hole. So very, very happy with this. We can choose if it sucks air in or blows air out, and there's an on and an off switch. I guess the little light in the middle is just telling me if it's actually spinning or not. And yes, I would love to have the entire deck and the hatch and everything looking like this, but that's just gonna have to wait because that is an immense project, and we're only making the deck dirty still. We still need to varnish the main mast, and we need to put a few more coats of varnish on this mast, so the deck is gonna be for another day. On our way out, we want to be able to stop and fill up diesel. We've currently got about anywhere between 50 and 100 liters in our forward starboard tank over there. We've got 3 more tanks that we have to fill up, which are actually fastened down. Initially, I wanted to have one entrance with lots of T-connectors and valves that we can choose which ones we fill up. But we did that test before, and the speed that the diesel comes out of the hose of the petrol station is immense, and we want to make the most of that. The goal is to have one of these 2-inch, they're all 2-inch, one of them directly on top of each tank, where the hose going straight down into it. It might seem a bit odd to have 4 fillers, but at the end of the day, how often do you fill up diesel on a sailing boat? And this way you can just open the hose of the petrol station or the diesel station, fill up the tank, close it, move over to the next. It shouldn't be that difficult.
Bobby, look at me.
So we got a comment saying that I have no respect for Mother Nature and the force of the waves and what the waves and the sea can do with us. Now, of course, that is totally not true. If this line or this cleat was just to hold the sail rolled up as it is now, even in high winds, it would have managed, because it's very unlikely that the small amount of wind that gets into, well, there's no sail open, would rip this out and unroll. But you guys got me thinking, what if I want to roll up half of it from a full sail, or unroll half of the sail and use it as a kind of reef in the sail with high winds? Now, this plastic cleat would just not do. I'm going to replace this one. We always were going to have this one, massive one down here, and we'd have one on the other side and we could fasten it onto anything. But I don't like a cleat sharing a job. I'd like one thing just for the furling system, one just for climbing up the mast, one, you know what I mean? So this is going to be replaced with something a lot sturdier. Enough jibber jabber, I'm gonna grab something that I can work on. We have these massive Purple Heart handrails that were made by Nezel a very long time ago. Ready? We're installing this so MP doesn't blow away. Okay? So, just figure out where the screws are going to go, drill the pilot hole, and use white seeker so it doesn't show a big mess. Okay?
Okay.
absolutely epic 2 rails in place. Not only is it cool that they are here where they can be used right now, they're also just not in the way anymore. And I absolutely love it, putting something in place that has been taking up so much space. So not only is it a handrail, we can use it to tie lines onto, whatever, so nothing slides off the roof, but also to fasten stuff down. So instead of having everything in the middle here, I'm going to put it to one side and actually use it for what it's made for. And soon, right now actually, this roof is going to look so organized.